So what's up, guys? Southpark episode 5, titled Danish for Denmark. Now this episode was hilarious, and it was full of content. Whereas we got to see like overall all of the stories that we're taking a look into. Whereas we see the giant douche, Skank 42, the boys in Danish. We got to see like everything that's partaken in this season. Now, let me start off with Butters versus the girls. They're in the playground, and Butters basically, the girls want to kick his ass, and he's not gonna lift a muscle, so he just stands there with his penis out. And then we see Heidi and Cartman. Heidi and Cartman come in to defuse the situation, and I thought it was funny how Heidi now has a Token Lives Matter shirt. I thought that was extremely funny. But that wasn't the funniest part about the Token Lives Matter shirt. Later on in the episode, and later on down the line of this review, I'll get into that. But after that, we go into where Mr. Garrison goes out for his big presidential speech. And the Chris Christie lookalike basically tells him to not to be so sensitive towards the women. And it completely goes into one ear and out the other. And he basically goes out there and treats it as a stand-up comedy. He's talking about putting his fingers up assholes, which is a play on the Donald Trump grab them by the pussy. And Family Guy did a joke on that as well. I thought that was cool, but I feel like Family Guy's losing his touch a little. So Mr. Garrison, aka Giant Douche, treats it as a stand-up comedy. And it was funny how sensitive they were towards his female jokes, but wasn't sensitive towards fuck them all to death. And I thought that was his whole speech purpose was right there. Even though it was a comedy section, it was a real serious section, whereas he was trying to explain and show them how sensitive people are about stuff. Especially about the grab by the pussy and the immigration. Now, we go into the troll trace and the Danish dancing and singing their little song. They were extremely funny, and I love how they themselves don't think that the world sees them as clowns are funny. And they're like the only ones that take themselves serious. They're basically dancing for the fundraiser to get Troll Trace up off the ground. Now we basically go back into PC Principle, where he's introducing Cartman and Heidi into explain their plan to help the Danish, which is to throw a fundraiser selling Danish to help the Danish people get Troll Trace off the ground. And I love how PC Principle is talking to the crowd, and I'm like, okay, the Leslie joke's about to come. He's like, shut the fuck up, Leslie. Leslie joke's about to come. And it didn't come. So he goes off on Butters. And Butters like a little bitch, like, okay. And did you guys notice that ever since PC Principle got there, like, the whole school area has gotten more strict and more educational. But it's a good change. It's not a bad change. It's a good change. And it don't feel out of place, but it kind of sort of is. Whereas the old Principal Victoria, usually went along with the plans, and PC Principal, he's not having it. Now, Heidi and Cartman comes in to introduce their plan to the school, which supposedly is supposed to bring everyone together. And notice that they're the only two happy people in the whole school, basically. I don't even know if it's the whole school, because the Canadian girls were taking the stand as well. Now, after that, did you guys see what was behind Cartman's shirt that says "Come together as a school and Token Lives Still Matter"? I thought that was extremely funny too. Now, we go back to the Giant Douche, whereas after his speech, he's basically getting criticized for going too sensitive towards the females. And everyone basically turns on him. And he loses his mind and he runs back to the school. and try to teach. So on his way out to the school, he basically goes outside and he's trying to explain to the crowd. And one of the guys with the crowd, and he was like, "Hey, that's that son of a bitch who did a fast one on him." I can't do the accent, but I thought it was extremely funny. It was like a country accent. But so after that, we go into, like I said, this whole episode was full of content. Like a lot of content, and I loved it. To be a middle episode, I'm guessing it's only like 10 to 11. Guessing to be the middle episode, it had a lot of content. So we go into the trolls meeting inside the hotel, and funny how the hotel guest shows up. Did you guys notice that it's the same guest from the past episodes, whereas people had their seminar and Cartman had the Jew thing inside, and he always came in and was like, "Thanks for choosing the hook." But in this episode, they cut him off. Thought it was funny how they bring him back, and he's always so joyous about welcoming guests and helping them. So after that, we go into Mr. Broflovski and Dildo Schwagen. They basically come back to their house to come up with a plan to attack the Danish, because they're planning to troll the whole country. And as soon as he get home, he tell Ike's, "No video games tonight. I need all the bandwidth." I thought that was extremely funny. Like I said, I laughed through it almost this whole episode. My wife was watching as well, and she laughed as well. Alright, so Mr. Garrison goes back to the school, and Chris Christie lookalike. They basically go to the school and drag them out. And that was the end of Mr. Garrison until we see him running in the rain. And notice how his tan lines were like, how can I say? It was basically like makeup. Like his makeup was getting wet in the rain, but it was supposed to be like a tan to mimic Donald Trump. I wonder if that's real. Alright. So we go into the boys creating a fundraiser to help Denmark, and after Skank Hut and his buddies trolled Denmark, the next day they make front page. They made the front page of Google, and Gerald was like, "Let me check the Huffington Post." It's funny how major journalists, corporations like them, would take up tiny stories like these, or insignificant stories such as these. Now, after that, we basically get a cut into the fundraiser, whereas Heidi and Cartman and the girls and the boys basically turn against each other because no one wants to buy the Danishes to help Denmark. So it's basically a flop. And the girls and the boys bicker against each other. Then the final part of this episode, where we go into and I love how they transition to this scene where we see Mr. Garrison was running around throughout this whole episode, and he finally ended up in the intervention room where Randy is. And he's basically leading this whole seminar, and he was explaining that the reason people want you to be the president is because of the member berries. And he basically explained that member berries are sort of grapes, and he goes into explaining that this is how the Romans did it back in the day. After they got lazy, they just sat around and ate grapes. And he was comparing it to this generation, where it's so lazy, all they do is remakes, which is kind of true. I'm gonna say completely, but kind of true. I haven't given it much thought, but as of just brainstorming, yeah. So after that, we go into the member berries. Notice Randy was pulling off the cards to explain to them the purpose of the member berries. Notice how as soon as he reached to the member berries, you heard a little key, remember? I thought that was extremely funny. And Randy also pulled out a member berry, and it was saying all type of shit. He was like, "Remember when you was feeling safe?" Member berries always got the best members. And also, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but one day I was driving around, and And I saw something, and I was like, babe, I was talking to my wife, babe, remember we used to do this? And I was just like, to the coincidence of it, no one ever says remember. Everyone always says member. As kids, you always said member. And then to see how Southpark put it in here, it's just nostalgic. I just thought it was, and they made it funny. They also made it funny to reminisce. And Randy's putting the blame all on J.J. Abrams because he's saying the new Star Wars isn't as good as the old Star Wars. So basically, J.J. Abrams did he did the rewrite of the new script. And me personally, I like J.J. Abrams. He did one of my favorite shows on Sci-Fi, Fringe. Love Fringe. Love the whole aspect of it. But yeah, J.J. Abrams had a hat on that says J.J. Abrams in his hat. Now, that's basically the end of this episode. This was a you'll see it 9 out of 10 episode. It had everything in it. Everything. I don't want to make this video too long, but you guys definitely check out my other Southpark videos. Please excuse the hair. I'm in the middle of getting a retwist. Staying up late tonight. Check out my other Southpark videos. Subscribe if you haven't. Like if you did. Dislike if you didn't. Let me know what you guys think. And notice. I'm gonna end it off with this. Kyle almost bust Mr. Barflosky, his dad. Kyle almost busts him again. He's basically coming down the stairs. I'm like, is this the moment where Kyle finds out that his dad is Skank at 42? But it wasn't. It was very close. It was very close. Also, I totally forgot that Cartman and Heidi went to the sent the most important part about this episode and this season. Cartman and Heidi sent a tape to Denmark saying that they want to help troll trays and they have a plan. And they're willing to accept this plan because the whole world made fun of them. Now, if you guys didn't remember, the ad that was in the last season did the exact same thing to Kyle. It was playing him. And don't be surprised if Heidi has accomplices or if she is an ad. Don't know. And this would coincide perfectly because troll trace would practically run the internet. So yeah, but let me know what you guys think. This is just speculations, of course. But let me know what you guys think. Other than that, thanks for watching.